there's this concept that people may have heard of before, but don't really understand very well, and in the business turnaround space, around small business restructures. So especially if you're a trade business or something like that, where you don't have the network of expertise around you that you can sort of offer and touch all of those pieces, what does a small business restructure look like, and how does that relate back to stabilising people's cash flow?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Michael, and coming out of COVID and just general with the inflationary environment that we're experiencing right now, a lot of businesses have legacy debt positions, be it debit loans or external finance, or the prime one these days is the ATO debt. And I think everyone's got best intentions, but when you're not unable to apply your trade, and you hit on one thing there, which is a knock-on effect as well, Michael, with respect to a small mum and dad supplier, a large company goes down, and that has a roll-on effect. And 99% of the people we deal with are good people. They experience cash flow issues, which isn't the number one. They have bad debt issues. The pincer grip now between being competitive and at the same time having rising prices, with staff are hard to get, they're expensive to get, materials have gone up. It's a whole experience. So we're finding businesses are now in a position where they've got legacy positions, they don't know what to do. And the government in 21 the federal government came out with a really, everyone loves to knock government, but they actually came out with a solution which was amazing, and I call it insolvency light. And the best way to say is that in Queensland, like for the building and construction sector, if you do an insolvency, you're banned for 3 years automatically as there being a person of influence, whereas if you use the small business, you can retain your licence. So it's a way to get some benefits without the impact. You still keep control of your company, you still keep your employee agreements, your supplier agreements, your lease agreements, finance agreements, etc., etc. So what it essentially does, Michael, if you reach 3 criteria, and those 3 criteria predominantly being a corporate or a corporate trustee, so a corporate entity of some description, have unsecured liabilities of less than $1 million, and your superannuation is paid up to date. If you tick those 3 boxes, for the first time since I've got the grey hairs, I've been doing this a long time, the ATO is actually compromising ATO debt, and typically between 15 and 25 cents. So if you've got a client who's got a $200,000 ATO debt which they can't jump over, subject to cash flow management, balance sheet modification, and putting forward a successful proposal, which we're very experienced at doing, and working with small business practitioner environment, they're able to potentially pay $30,000 to $40,000 in full and final settlement of that debt, which allows that company to continue to employ and grow. And I think it's good for everybody, because it doesn't mean bad debts. It means that the economy is not it's falling over. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. Obviously, the ATO is the most significant credit that we are seeing, but it just allows these companies to grow and to re-engage, which otherwise potentially it's just it's a sharp fall off, and it doesn't benefit anybody. And so it's a great solution. Look, we do a little bit of work around traditional insolvency things, but where we can be light and have less impact on all parties concerned, that we're all for that. We're most businesses and clients that see us, Michael, they're good people. They don't want to do the wrong thing by creditors, by their staff, by suppliers. They're good people. And I think this legislation just allows, for the first time, allows business to compromise genuinely with third parties, and without the stigma that's attached to traditional insolvency.
Look, and I think you've raised a really good point around what does this ultimately look like, and that people are good people generally, right? They don't choose the weather environments they get caught up in. They can't choose those supplier issues, trying to get the right employees to deliver where they need to. Illness. There's so many things that can impact the stability of cash flow inside a business, and it's not hard to take your eye off the ball for a couple of months when you've sent out these invoices and expect people to pay, and they don't. And so it's really hard to not be too desperate and go, well, right, how do I, 1, collect the money that I'm owed, and then 2, how can I engage the financial services sector, if you like, and be represented to the ATO and other practices and other people that I might owe money to try and figure out what that looks like. And I think that's really key at the moment. We saw coming up to Christmas a lot of people really starting to get the squeeze on, saying, hey, I really need this money because I'm going to be quiet over the summer, and try and collect invoices on their behalf. But that doesn't necessarily change, even when that money comes in, the availability that they've got to service what they've already got in play. And
I think that's a good point, Mark. It's sort of a compromise here. We always believe prevention is better than cure. And where we can reach out to yourself, Michael, and assure is we can get the cash flow as the lifeblood of the company, and debtor management and debtor collection is certainly, where the age days are increasing all the time in the present environment. So that allows a client to make informed decisions, such as the small business restructure, which are more seismic, but without the oil proverbially going to fuel the engine, the whole business closes down. So working with fellow professionals like yourself just allows us to provide more, holistic solutions to businesses, where otherwise, it would be more dramatic, and the impact, I think, for the individual, the company itself, and all the third parties. And a lot of people just look at their client themselves. That's obviously who we're paid to represent and look after. There are knock-on effects, and I think as professionals, we do our job, but we are people first and foremost, and we all want, none of us have got that sort of nasty side to us. We're trying to get the better result for all parties concerned. So where we can get in early, before those debts become almost untenable or can't be attended to, and that's where the cash flow solutions, sometimes lending solutions, etc., really are paramount for our clients.
So look, just to wrap up, there's an awful lot of information that you've talked about today, which is great. Some people might not know all of the industry jargon that's come through in our little conversation today. The best way is, if you've got a question, you're interested in learning more, or you just want some clarification around those things, please don't hesitate to reach out to Assure Global Plus, and we'll help you connect wherever we can. Thank you.
Thank you.